Hello, traders. It's Matt and JC with Empire Algorithmic Trading here to give you your VWAP Visions Stock Talk weekly review. And what a week it's been, Jace.
It was an interesting week to say the least. This is where we use the volume weighted average price to help make sense of the market. It's the best indicator there is. So let's get to it, Matt. Let's take a look at last week.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Here comes Stock Talk.
All right. Well, I hope everybody's buckled up, man. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. It was an interesting week to say the least, right? The indexes themselves had a very strong week. The S&P 500 was up 1.8%. The Nasdaq was up 2%. The small caps were up 1.2, and the mid caps were up with just less than 1%. And bonds rallied as well, which is very important. We want to see bonds stabilize. We were concerned about that on a daily chart. It's very interesting. We hit a little mini red zone, and we found support right at the 20-day average. The 20-day average appears to be the average to pay attention to for this particular move. One, it found resistance there a couple of times, three times. It might even go four times if you go back here. But it was finding resistance at the 20-day average consistently. It broke through there and has found support there twice. Most importantly, it found support last week where it rallied up strongly on Monday. Just not a lot of follow through after Monday's strong move. So basically, Monday was the entire week. After that, it just kind of went sideways. What's interesting is I was looking at the breakouts that we've had basically since the green zone. And basically, everything since this yellow arrow here has done nothing. And really, that just kind of tells you, I mean, the whole market's pretty much done nothing since then. So
Just
it just kind of
sat
tells you
there.
that. I'm sorry, what was that, Matt?
So it's just sat there.
Yeah. Just little consolidation. I mean, a wicked run, right? The S&P is up, I think at this point, is up 16% off of this closing low, off of its intraday low. It was up 21%. So the fact that it hasn't given up the 20-day moving average, the fact that it's still trading in a relatively tight range over these past 2 weeks is a bullish sign, right? It's a bullish indicator. It allows stocks to catch up, to set up some consolidations. What it's done though is it's really kind of hurt the average breakout, right? The breakouts since this yellow arrow, have been just pretty much dead in the water. They're predominantly down below their buy prices. Several of them have failed outright, down more than 6%. That's usually what I consider a failed breakout. So it's been interesting, but there's a lot of stocks that are setting up. Just nothing's making any moves. But let's just take a look at some of these recent charts. And more importantly, I want to show the 20-day moving average. So we're going to start this week with just some stocks that have broke out, that are finding some support at the 20-day moving average. Here's HIMS, for example. Clear support at the 20-day. Nice rally on Friday, up almost 8% on a nice spike in volume. So we'll see if this one can continue. It's a choppy looking pattern. It's not as smooth as you would expect. Probably some of these percentages are a little out of line, but it does have a big ADR. It has an ADR of 10.2. So that's why a lot of these
Yeah.
moves are pretty exaggerated. So what's important is the support that it's finding. So HIMS might set up and present another buying opportunity. We'll see. Palomar, this one's been riding its 20-day average for quite some time. It flashed a nice little buy signal here. Tested the 20-day twice, barely even touched it, and continued to rally. It was up 4.6% on Friday for a new high. ALNY, another nice 3.9% gain on Friday. But it tested the 20-day average. It broke it and then quickly reversed and rallied strongly and then some. This would have been a test for you to hold through if you did buy this breakout here. It was up 5%, wiped out that 5%, and then you were down about 4.5% at this point. So that would have taken some conviction to ride through that, particularly with that break of the 20-day. But the quick recovery probably would have put you at ease. And then, of course, it rallied up to hit new highs there. Same thing with Monday. We're seeing Monday finding support at the 20-day. It flashed a little mini sell signal here, but it rallied off on that, just like with the rest of the market on Monday, and then just kind of hung out. Once again, that's the same pattern we're seeing across the board. Same thing with Paymentus, more support at the 20-day moving average. And then IDCC, same thing, flashed a little mini buy signal or sell signal, And this actually looks like a potential buy signal right here. So
Huh, okay.
if you're inclined, that might be a nice early move right there. A good trade off the 20-day average. It
Yeah.
never really presented an opportunity to stop your loss here. This is just a really sell signal. But for the most part, that's a good looking chart actually. However, ever since this point, we've been seeing some failures. So let's just take a look at some of those.
All right.
ASST, pretty clear failure there, down 7.5% on Friday.
Woof.
Uh, this was a risky one, right? It was a
Yeah.
short base, bounced right off the 20-day, pretty deep, pretty volatile. But even if you use its ADR, you're still stopped out on that one. So pretty clear failure there. TVTX had a pretty promising start. It was up over 5%, traded up over 5% intraday, was looking pretty good, and then this massive gap down here just ruined the pattern. If you didn't sell here, you're probably wishing you had because it's down considerably since then. Same thing with Kava. Kava was not able to get anything rolling. It broke its 20-day moving average, flashed the sell signal all at the same time, and it's continued to move down. Same thing with EverQuote. Wasn't exactly the cleanest breakout, wasn't the sharpest look, but its earnings report crushed it, and it's continued to trade down. Actually, this one's kind of finding a little bit of a floor here, might be setting up for another move higher. We'll just keep watching that one. And then Arista
Yeah.
Networks, disappointingly, had a nice looking
Woof.
breakout there. The first warning sign was the very next day. That strong gap down the next day is never a good sign. And then it just was never able to recover. Stopped me out right here, and then it continued to just sell off through there. So those are some of the failures. The flip side of that is we've had some pretty significant winners, but they've all been from the early stages, right? DFDV, this thing rallied. It actually split 7 for 1. So this used to be, I think this was like a $70 breakout. It's now a $10 stock, right? So, but it
Wow.
went from 1064 breakout to 4250. So that's a pretty significant run there. Oklo, a very strong breakout as well. It shot up very nice when Trump announced that he was going to deregulate the nuclear energy, and then same thing with NewScale. Similar pattern there with NewScale. They are giving up some ground a little bit, but they're still well above the average that's been holding up. So you could ride probably taking some profits. I know I had both, and I took some profits here, so I have a little bit of cushion. I can let these things
Okay.
ride out. Same thing with Transmedics, a nice strong breakout with Transmedics. It's holding up strongly. Rubric, about as clean as you can get on Rubric there. That's a pretty steady upstream. And then same thing with Amphenol, APH, a nice breakout, gapped up the next day, never tested you. It's just been a nice steady ride there. And then same thing with Roblox. Roblox has had a couple of breakouts, never really
Yeah.
tested your patience, and it's just continuing to move. Now, an interesting thing with Roblox is it looks great here, right? This is a very nice
Yeah.
move from this run to here. You're up 32%. But if
Right.
you would have bought it back on this breakout, you're still down 20%. So
Wow.
this is why we love like Roblox. I remember I traded this. I bought it here, sold some here, and then ended up selling it back down here. And I'm glad I did because it went in the dumper for several years,
Yeah.
and now it's starting to come
Yeah.
alive. So that's one of the reasons why we don't do the buy and hold, right? Because you have like you could just go through the list. Block, this is the old Square. Block was a potential new Visa, right? And it was doing quite well until it wasn't. And it's still PayPal, for example, another similar one.
Yep.
It was doing great until it wasn't. Upstart Financial. I mean, you could go on and on and on. Shopify. For example, you've got Crocs. I believe CROX is Crocs. Yeah. Similar pattern, just went and it's just done nothing since. So these are a lot of the reasons why we like to take profits, why we don't buy and hold. We just ride those little waves while we can. And so Roblox is continuing to move higher. Whether it makes it up to the 140 previous all-time peak is anybody's guess, right? So we're just going to keep riding
Right.
that wave until it breaks. But right now we've got some really nice profits in it. We've got profits from this position and profits from this position. We've been peeling off a little bit, but for now it's basically a pretty much risk-free trade. So Pretty exciting stuff with there. Vistra, same thing. A nice strong breakout there. It's continuing to roll. It's up double digits from its breakout. But most part, that's kind of about 20% or up more than double digits, about 22% or more down more than 6%. The remaining 6% are between the 6% gain and the 10% gain. So that's about what you would expect with the market kind of consolidating. Moving forward, we're just going to keep watching for breakouts. We're in a little mini red zone. I don't expect it to hold. I expect the market to continue to move higher from here. But I'm just going to follow our sell rules. And so if I'm wrong, if my expectations are wrong, we'll be moving back into cash. But for the most part, most of my holdings are still holding up quite well.
All right.
Market appears to be holding well. We're getting a little consolidation. Bonds have stabilized. The VIX is coming down a little bit. It was pretty surprising to see the VIX sell off as hard as it did, come down as much as it did, particularly with Friday's big gap down, a little bit of a rally throughout the day, which probably helped. Things are setting up. Things are looking good. It's just been kind of a dud for the past 2 weeks, week and a half. So I think you nailed it on the head. What did you say earlier, Matt?
Basically, all of those that were gonna break out have broken out. So if you caught that initial wave, great. Everything from here on forth is we'll kind of see what happens. It's that second wave of not as strong of a leader. There's still a lot of potential, but it's not the surefire swing and hit like it was at the beginning of this.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully a little bit of a shakeout and we get a nice another move up and kind of ride that wave. So that's a little bit for this week's weekly review, Matt. We're going to take a look at some arrows for everybody today as well. But for the most part, happy trading, everybody.
All right, everybody. And for those of you that are listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Slam, smash, hit, press that like, subscribe button. We love to see you here every single day. If not, follow us on all of our social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky. We like to get on there and have some fun little tidbits for you. A couple freebies here and there that we like to throw out to everybody to watch and potentially put in your portfolio. And if you want access to our daily buy and sell signals, if you want that information on these are breaking out now, here's the market to get in, let's go, subscribe at our Patreon. It's only 20 bucks a month. That's less than a coffee a day. Patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. Get access to our educational videos. Get access to our community. Say hello to fellow traders who are using our system and what they're doing. It's a great, great place. Again, Patreon.com/Empire Algorithmic Trading. And that being said, everybody, happy trading.
Happy trading, everybody. All right, talk to you later.